that are on Twitter today saw that I put out that any new person tonight gets a basket of seasoned fries. And obviously I see a lot of new people, so instead of only Ohio State.
I went over this with them.
But instead of penalizing the people that always come, every table's getting a basket of seasoned fries. So in the next 5 or 10 minutes, you can get it. And I will be coming by to steal some.
There you have it. No, but we are back here at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills, back for another season.
Were you cheering for them or us the other night? Were you cheering for Ohio State or us the other night? Oh, okay. All right, then you can wear that.
It doesn't have to go the Grizzlies hat.
I see.
So,
I see.
So that is okay.
Did you? Oh, that's good. I had one on too.
There is a fan here with an Ohio State football. So that's the source of contention right now. But camp season underway, a couple of tough battles in Big Ten gyms, and the Golden Grizzlies had the lead inside 9 minutes to go in both of those games. And just kind of bring everybody up to speed right now. I know you have to like it, camp, just in terms of, and look, it's a double-edged sword, right? You don't get a lot of chances to win those games. But at the same time, camp, as you've had a chance to digest it, what's your thoughts now?
Well, we're 0-2, and nobody wanted to be 0-2, and I really felt if we were healthy, and we almost were, we didn't have Baru the first night, and we had him the second night, but he was a little, he's got a learning curve because he missed so much time. I thought we could win. I didn't know if we could win at Illinois. I think Illinois is one of the best defensive teams we've ever played. I also think that they're a top 15, 20 team. And after what we did at Ohio State, we had their attention. Maybe you go in there the first game and they're thinking they're going to win by 40 and you do some things. So, we had those two situations. I really felt that we could get a win in one of those games. I walked away feeling we should have won the Ohio State and we could have won the Illinois game. That's my feeling afterwards. We made a lot of critical errors down the stretch in the Ohio State game. Part of it is a lot of 8 new players and just haven't not been there. But I will say this, as I sit back and look at it, I got over them being upset that we had the chance and didn't do it. In all my years, the greatest teams I've ever had, there's only been one time that we played Power Fives back to back and played 2 games like that. And that was, actually there's 2 times, but one where we won at Washington and we came back 3 days later and Michigan State was number 1 in the country and we lost in overtime. That team finished second in the Horizon League and did not make it to the NCAA tournament. The team that I had that went 50-3 over a 53-game stretch.
It's so crazy to hear those numbers, man.
Yeah. The team that I had that went 50-3, we played a lot in the league we were in over a 53-game period. That's total domination, right? So that's great. That's a great basketball team over 2 years, too. So it was some different players. We played a lot of Power Fives, and we never did that. We beat Tennessee, and then we went to Ohio State and got killed. We beat somebody, and then we went to Michigan and got killed. So putting 2 games like that back to back, we did it when we beat Washington. And then 2 years ago with Jamal Cain, we didn't have a chance to win at West Virginia, but it was a close game. I think we lost by 6. We were never ahead in the second half, but we hung in there. And then 3 nights later, we beat Oklahoma State on the road. So that's our comparison. And if you compare this team to those teams, Jamal Cain's team won 20 games. We were 11-1 in the league when Jalen tore a ligament in his wrist, right? He played, but who knows what would have happened that last month if he was healthy. That Kay Felder team finished second, got upset in the conference tournament, and then went out to that Vegas tournament and got to the championship game and lost at the buzzer to a very, very good Old Dominion team. So if you put us in that same category with those teams, you got to feel really good about what happened and where we're at. Now, we got to stay healthy, and if you don't know this, you will tomorrow night. Blake Lampman will not be playing tomorrow night. We don't know when he'll be back. He suffered with about 3 minutes to go in the game against Illinois. He suffered a fairly serious injury to his hip. And, he was on crutches for 2 days. He's off crutches now. We're hoping that we have him back by the time we get back from the Cayman Islands. That's a critical blow to us because, as you saw in that first exhibition game, not only is Blake playing great, he's averaging in 2 games, he made 4 3-point shots per game. If he goes the whole season making 4 per game, he'll finish in the top 5 in the country. He's shooting it at 40%, which is
The number.
yeah, that's the critical number, right? So just taking that off the floor, and then the big thing is Blake has been an unbelievable leader for this group. When you have 8 new guys, and you play the defense that we play, which is a very assignment, hard to learn defense, you have to have someone on the court, and Blake's that guy. And so I'm really, really concerned about not having him tomorrow night. We're going to have to really step up in certain places to make up, not so much for the 4 shots, because he could go 1 for 10 tomorrow night if he played, but more for that leadership and for that presence defensively. Because I will tell you this, Illinois against us on Friday night, that was, I called Izzo after the game and I said that their defense reminded me of your national championship team and the Final Four teams. They defended like those Michigan State teams. That is, if you make the slightest error, if a pass is down here and you've got to catch and shoot instead of right here, you're not getting a shot. And you don't see that. You see that defense for 3 or 4 possessions here or there, a big possession, crowd's going crazy. But to see it for 36 minutes, I mean, we came out and smacked him right in the nose. It was 8-0. He called timeout, and that kid Shannon came out, and Golke didn't even. He was plastered on Golke for the rest of the game. And we do a lot of stuff to get our shooters open. And usually when they play like that, through the course of the game, they're going to get tired. They're going to make a mistake. That kid never made a mistake. And Underwood said to me after the game, would you agree that Shannon is the best 2-way player in the country? I go, I don't know about the offense, but that's as good a defense as I've ever seen played by anybody. As good as Illinois was defensively, we were that good too. We held Illinois to 29 points in their building in the first half. I think they had 36 or so, whatever it was in the second half. We held them 63. Was that what it was? 63.62, something like that. When you're Oakland, you're not really known for your defense, but even going into a building like that, and if you saw it on TV, you might have seen it if you were there live. There were 15,500 people there, and they prepared for us. Their fans prepared for us like it was a Big Ten basketball game. Their student section, which wrapped the thing, they had newspapers with every one of our stats on it. They're calling Rocket names. They're the headline on the newspaper was "Where the hell is Oakland?" I mean, they brought their game, and our kids went out there and punched them right in the nose to start. We played a really, really good basketball game. The last 5-6 minutes, we couldn't score, and part of that was my fault. I don't think I substituted very well in the second half. And I think that got us in a little bit of trouble. Trey Townsend played a few too many minutes. And the difference when I say that versus our league is the physicality of it. When Trey took the ball to the basket, he got hit 73 times. On the 74th time, they might have called a foul on that. But, he just got bumped and hit, and that's going to wear you out. And we did the same to them, though. We were physical with them, which I really liked how physical we were. The Ohio State game came down to, critical plays and a couple bad calls. And I'm not saying that the fish game was bad because it wasn't. But we had critical calls that went against us or didn't go for us. And when you're going to win a game like that, everything's got to go your way in the last 4 or 5 minutes. They called Isaiah Jones. We're up 2, and we run a set, and he set an unbelievable screen, and it got Lampman wide open, and they called an offensive foul on the screen. And when I watched it on film, it was not a foul. But there were a lot of times during the games that maybe we did screen and it was a foul. So it's not an excuse, but it took the possession away from us when we had a chance to go up, 2 possessions with 2-3 minutes to go. We stepped out of bounds, a wide open guy standing with a foot out of bounds. I mean, that's a critical error on our part. If you're going to win that type of game, you can't make those errors. We missed some free throws. Now we had guys at the line that probably aren't great free throw shooters in the critical time, but you still got to make them. And then the biggest call of the game was, we led the whole way. They took the lead. They got it up to 7 or 8. And one of the signs that I really like, Neil, is that a lot of teams would have folded and went away. And we got it from 6 or 7 right back down to 1. And there's a shot. They shoot a bad shot. We have the ball with a minute to go. One of our players catches the rebound, and they come down right on top of him, and he loses the ball out of bounds. They give it to Ohio State because they didn't call a foul, which I believe was a foul, but they didn't call it. But we still got to hold on to the ball. If we hold on to the ball, now we've got a possession to take the lead with a minute to go. Instead, it goes out of bounds. They run a play, and they make a 3, and the game's over. And so that we were that far away from winning that game, and we were very close at Illinois. Now, what does that mean? Well, I don't know. I really don't. I don't know what it means.
Well, we find out tomorrow, right?
Well,
to some degree,
yeah. We still, it means that when we didn't have our A game. We didn't, usually when you win a game, like when we beat Washington by 20 a few years ago, Kay Felder had 37 points, 27 in the first half. They couldn't stop him. Nobody on our team had a game like that. We just methodically played really, really good basketball, really, really good defense. And then our big Achilles heel is rebounding. At least we thought that. And in the first half, it appeared it was going to be again at Ohio State. In the second half, Ohio State got 2 offensive rebounds. Then we go to Illinois, who I think going in Illinois beat Kansas now. All right. Kansas is the number 1 team in the country. They beat them. Now it's an exhibition game, and we don't put a whole lot of stock into exhibition games, but they still beat them. And they did it by dominating the glass against Kansas. I was concerned that it was going to be 100 offensive rebounds, and we shut them down until the last couple minutes of the game. I think they only had a couple. I think they ended with 6 maybe or 4 or something like that.
It was a small number.
And they got 3 in the last 3 minutes, and it wasn't they out-rebounded us. It was the ball came loose, and they came up with it. And part of that, again, goes back to we were a little tired down the stretch, and it goes on me for not substituting. And one of the things I said is I want to play Townsend 32 minutes at the most, and I played him more than that, and only because I thought we could win, and that's why I did it.
But Camp, I know, and you talked about that. By the way, this season, the Greg Kampe Show brought to you by Henry Ford Sports Medicine, the official team physicians for Oakland University and you. For more info, visit henryford.com/athletes. But Camp, the circumstances change, right? I mean, when you're, I know what you're going to say.
It's early in the year, and you got to. I can't do that. We want to win in February and March, and I can't do that. And the competitiveness got to me, and it was a mistake. Now, did it cost us the game? I don't know, but it sure as hell didn't help us win.
Camp, I want to back up to what you said too, because it was something I talked about during the radio broadcast. And when your guys' back was to the wall in those moments that you talked about, those critical runs of the game, where maybe in the past that is where the league gets stretched out to 15 and the horses get out of the barn. Pretty much every single time up until, that last 2-minute time stretch that you talked about, you guys were able to answer. Every single time. Why?
Well, again, I think that goes back to what I said earlier. The teams that have been really, really good at Oakland we play that schedule every year. We usually go in, at Michigan State last year, we played great. And they outscored us 17-2 in the last minute and a half of the first half and the first 3 minutes of the second half. The rest of the game, we outscored them. There's always that one stretch when you're maybe not as good a team as a championship level team. But our championship level teams have always been able to do what this team did. And so that's a really good sign, except we're only 2 games in, and there's so many we don't knows about this team right now. And I'm saying that as their coach. So as fans, I'm sure you're thinking, oh, what the hell is he talking about? You're supposed to know, right? Well, I don't. It's just too soon, and there's too many new players. Now, do we know what Trey Townsend is? Sure. Do we know what Lampman is? Sure. But we've got some critical players that are new. And the best thing about this team is our depth. We're talking, Osei Price right now is our 10th man. He's been our 6th man for the last 3 years. He's our 10th man right now, maybe 11th. hopefully he'll be back to 6 before the year's over because we know what we have with him. But, you know, you got DQ Cole coming off the bench. You've got Tone Hunter coming off the bench. Right now you got Baru coming off the bench. Baru, I think, before Baru's out of here, if all goes well and he stays healthy, he's going to be one of the best players Oakland's ever seen as far as that position. He's really talented. He's just raw, and he didn't get to practice for 2 months. For him to do what he did in that game against Illinois without having practice for his first time ever on a Division I basketball court in front of 15,000 people, with us winning, the pressure that was on him to perform and compete, he was in a daze, and he's still. I talked to him after the game, and, you know, that first stretch, you could tell was, you know, kind of a little bit out of his element. And for him to play the way he did, knowing that, imagine when he's confident. I think the alley-oop at the end of the half really helped, too. I think, it felt like, hey, yeah, I can do this anywhere. So we got a lot of really good players, a lot of unknowns. That's what the season's about, and it looks like it has a chance to be a pretty exciting season. Again, though, I'm going to caution everybody, our schedule is...
It's rough.
Yeah, I mean...
It's rough.
I tried to fire the guy that made it. But then I really like to play golf, and I need the money, so I decided. So
I thought maybe that happened, Kim, because you got the sport coat on. I didn't know, maybe you interviewed at Texas A&M for the football job or something. I didn't know what was going on.
I was waiting for him to call. That's why I heard they called Campbell, though, instead. I don't know.
All right. Well, when we come back, we'll be joined by a new addition to the Golden Grizzlies coaching staff. Bobby Naubert will be our guest here on the Greg Kampe Show. Don't forget, if you want to get involved with the show, on Twitter, #AskKampe. Coming up about 7:33-ish, we'll be reading those questions. So if you got a question for Coach Kampe, anything you want to ask, he's game. He'll answer it, no doubt about it. We'll be back with more of the Greg Kampe Show. We're live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills.
Consistency is the key to success.
Welcome back inside RJ's Pub here in Rochester Hills. This is the Greg Kampe Show. My name is Neil Rule, the voice of the Golden Grizzlies, and the Greg Kampe Show is sponsored by the Pinot Insurance Agency, LLC of Remic Insurance. They cater to the educational market. If you're looking for an affordable insurance policy and a knowledgeable insurance agency, go online to pinoinsurance.com today. That's pinoinsurance.com. Right now, as promised, we are joined by the newest addition to the Golden Grizzlies coaching staff. He is Bobby Naubert. Bobby, look at that, man. You command the room, Bobby. You command the room. No, great to catch up with you, Bobby. And I know that you've brought a lot to this team, both from a roster perspective, some of the other stuff, and we are going to get into all that. But you come here to Oakland from Garden City, down there in the Jayhawk League, a legendary JUCO basketball league. You've seen your fair share of good players out of there.
100%. Like I said the other night, very fortunate to work for a really good coach down there and have a lot of really good Division I players that I've been coached the last 3 years.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, some of the guys have come up here to the Golden Grizzlies with you as well. And we've heard Coach Kampe talking about it. And, Baru is the guy, certainly. I'll tell you this, Bobby. Just seeing him in shoot-around the day of the Illinois game, just hammering dunks. Like, if you're not watching, you just hear it. It's one of those things you turn around and you look. Like, he plays physical.
Yeah, that's his specialty, right? So at Garden City, getting a lot of those dunks, and we're still looking for someone to throw it to him. We got Blake Lamb throwing a couple here and there, but we got one before the half, and Coach drew up a really good play and got him that backdoor dunk. But he's exciting. The whole season you're going to see a lot of big-time dunks, hopefully over a few people here and there.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But we are talking to Bobby Naubert here on the Greg Kampe Show. So, Bobby, so far, a couple games into your tenure here at Oakland, bring me up to speed, man. What are you seeing out there?
For the first 2 games, we talked about that first interview about wanting to go out and execute. And I was extremely proud of the guys, how they took the game plan, went out there and focused on things that we thought were important to win and compete. The first thing was controlling the tempo, controlling the pace. We talked about if we were playing in the 70s, 60s, 70s, we'd have a chance. And we did a good job, or both of our point guards, not turning the ball over, having 10 and 9 turnovers in both those 2 games and keeping us a chance in it. And just competing. Coach talked about it, 15,000 people. You can't even hear yourself thinking there.
Yeah.
It's going, your mind's moving, and I can't imagine being on that court. And I thought our guys were really composed, moving the ball side to side and executing, and did a really good job.
Well, Camp was talking about that. And I put a video out there on social media, the pregame. I mean, that scene in Illinois, not an empty seat in that gym at all. They were all the way in. They were all the way locked in. It was college basketball. Like that was college basketball.
For sure. And our guys were super excited for that opportunity, and it's really a good opportunity for us as coaches to be able to go and recruit and sell that. They're playing so many of these big time games. We got 6 of them on the schedule. Go to MSU. We just played at Illinois, played at Ohio State. It's easy to text a recruit the next day and hey, you get
you see us
yesterday, last night. We only lost by a couple points to Ohio State. You come here and maybe
be a difference.
Be a difference maker. And
can I be a recruiter?
100%. Yeah, I got you. I need you with me.
No, I'll be happy to do it, Bobby. All right, I got to put you on the spot then. He's sitting right over there, so remember that.
Okay.
What's it like working for Coach Kampe?
Unbelievable. Every day.
Hold on, say it. I don't know if he was paying attention.
Unbelievable. No, in all seriousness, I'm so blessed to be able to work for him every single day. And he doesn't do this for 40 years without being really good at it. And for me to, be there and learn and continue to grow and just see the attention to detail that he has every single day, it makes me a better coach and a better person overall.
All right, Bobby, one of the, I don't want to call it a misconception because maybe people don't know, but the fact of the matter is when the game is over, your guys' work day is you're only at like your first break of the day, right? Like it's not, you're not done. You don't just be like, the announcer guy and sit there on the bus and go to sleep. Like you're actually
there. I saw you. I saw you passed out. I wish that would have been me.
Yeah.
I could have traded roles next time.
No, but I saw you though, Bobby, like we get in there as you're eating, you got the video out, you're watching the game, you got the notebook. A, what are you writing in the notebook? And B, what are you doing?
Yeah. I think there's always things you can take away from the game. Obviously, you look at the big stats, the big picture, you're looking at the turnovers, something like that. But we're really trying to break down every aspect of it. For even what I'm charting on the way home from the bus was the rebounding. So let's say you only got 2 offensive rebounds or you only got 2 defensive rebounds, and we're looking like, hey, we need more out of you. But how many times did you check somebody out,
right,
to give us a chance to get the ball? I think there's so many things individually stat-wise that can help players grow and get better. If I told you were 2 rebounds, or did I tell you were 11 for 12 boxing out? It's a little bit different of a picture. But I'm a big believer in preparation. I think that scouting reports can give you 8 to 10 points a game, especially in all the games that we've been playing, how close it is. If I can go out there and steal 2 points for our team, I'm going to spend as many hours and watch as many games. And, a lot of you guys were at the Chalk Talk the first time and trying to, get in the side of the opposing coach's head, trying to realize what he's going to run, how he's going to run it. And steal a couple points, hopefully.
No, but Bobby, it is intriguing to me because I saw you and Coach Covington doing this, and Coach Covington will just pop up, and you guys will run a playback, and you'll talk about on a screen, you'll talk about shoulder angles, like. If your shoulder was turned in, if it was out wider, it would have created that eighth of an inch of space, maybe that we could have got the shot. I mean, the line is that fine. Like, that is the details, and I'm just putting it out there for people that they understand. Like,
That's great insight. That's great insight.
Literally no detail is missed. I mean, anything that you can do to get an advantage, you're going to do.
For sure. And like I said, that's why it's awesome to work for Coach Kampe. Like, at the end of the day, the amount of details he has in every single one of his sets, and the movement, player movement, where everyone needs to be at the right time. It's really like he's, orchestrating the band, I guess you could say. So for me to see those details and figure out how that works and be able to put that in my playbook or my notebook is really important to me as well.
All right, we're talking to Bobby Naubert here on the Greg Kampe Show, live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills. Not that this will apply to you anytime soon, hopefully like not until April or whatever, but what do you do off the floor, Bobby? What are you about?
I love basketball. I'm obsessed. So obviously through this period right now, I'm just really focused on watching as much film as possible. In the summer, I love to golf. Big time golfer.
We'll get out.
Yeah, we'll get out. You'll probably beat me, but I'm getting there. I'm not good enough to golf with Coach Kampe yet.
Okay.
I'm not quite to that level. Maybe one day I'll get there. But love watching sports. Love being with my family. Love anything outdoors. I'm a triplet, so brother and sister.
Really?
We all like to get together and hang out and go to a bar every now and then.
Okay, gotcha. So you played professional basketball over in Germany.
That's correct. 2 years.
2 years of pro basketball over in Germany. What was the deal with that? How did that come to be?
Yeah,
obviously you were a good player, right?
I was okay. Yeah, I saw it. So I played at Medina University and was a 3-time All-American there, and was very fortunate to kind of get almost like a tryout, like a 1-month tryout. Like, they liked what my game was. They didn't really trust that I was that good, so they're like, "Hey, here's a ticket. Come out here and prove it." And I worked out for that first month and got an opportunity to stay with the club and kept going. Kept working, kept grinding, and unbelievable experience. I wouldn't trade that experience for anything. Terrible with the language. I'm glad you didn't ask me if I could speak it in German. That was not going to happen on this show. But yeah, played for 2 years. Was all league over there for 2 years, and I kind of got to the point where I was like, what else am I going to be doing in life? And I had my education degree, so I was talking about student teaching and maybe getting involved in coaching a little bit, and went back to Medina University where I played at and started being the reserve head coach there as like a JV, I guess you could say, head coach, and just getting my feet wet and getting my coaching voice, and fell in love with it. I really didn't think that was going to be my path. I thought I was just going to teach and kind of help out in high school. And after that first year, I was like, I really want to get involved with this. Yeah, I took a $5,000 stipend job at Central Michigan as a GA, and after that was kind of keep going on.
No, absolutely. Last one before I let you go here, Bobby. This team, if this Golden Grizzlies team is going to get to where we all want them to go, what's the path? What will it take?
I think the superstars got to be superstars. Trey Thompson's got to be a big-time player for us. But we've talked about it so much. It's going to be the meshing of this group and getting everyone on the same page. It can't just be Trey every night. We're going to need, those seniors to be really good. Blake, hopefully when he gets healthy. We know how important he is out there. We saw him in the exhibition game. And, goalkeeper taking that role. But then those new guys being brought in and speed up to the process as quick as possible. But with that being said, I think we have a really good chance to do that, and I'm excited for it.
All right, Bobby, appreciate the time for sure. When we come back to the Greg Kampe Show, it's Ask Kampe time. So if you got any last-second questions you want to ask to Coach Kampe, fire that away on Twitter. Give it up for Bobby Naubert, everybody. Assistant coach here for the Golden Grizzlies here on the Greg Kampe Show. We'll be back with more. We're live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills. Welcome back to the Greg Kampe Show live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills. He is a coach, Greg Kampe. My name is Neil Camp. Before we get to the Ask Kampe portion of the show, what about this crowd? It's standing room only today.
Yeah, it's great. It's great. Let's win some games so we keep coming back. Everybody's thinking about what Bobby said about he started at $5,000 at Central Michigan. I'm not sure what we're going to pay him. Right now he's being paid by the wins. So he might be thinking Central was a bargain if things don't start turning around.
Need a better agent, Bobby. I'll just say it like that. You ready for the inaugural edition of the season of Ask Kampe? Camp, before we get into the ones today, there is one that came at the end of last year that I kind of do want to touch on and get your thoughts from. Grizzly fan wanted to know.
You think I can remember last year?
No, that's why I'm going to
I
ask
don't
it
remember
again.
where I parked.
Yeah, I know. Grizzly fan asked, Coach, what are your thoughts on the league changing the scheduling structure coming into this season?
Yeah, for those that don't know, they've gone away from travel partners, and the coaches were huge in this. We've asked for this for years. The administrators didn't want to do it because of it's more expensive. So they've kept a couple of them. Like we go to Northern Kentucky and Wright State on a Thursday, Saturday. We go to the Green Bay and Milwaukee on a Thursday, Saturday. Why we do, I don't know. Some schools do, some schools don't. But basically, we wanted Wednesday, Saturday games so that you have more than 1 day prep. It's really kind of unfair in our minds as coaches. These games are so important, and you're going to play. Let's say you play Thursday night and you go double overtime, then you got to play noon on Saturday. You might, as a staff, be able to prepare in that time, but the players are beat, tired. They're not listening. So by having that extra day, you get a day of rest, and then you get proper prep for the game. So we really push that, and I think that if we're going to be a big time, our conference used to be a top 12 conference in the country. We've kind of fallen off, where we're down like 19 or 20, maybe last year 21 or something like that. And if we're going to get back to the days of being a top 12 or 13 team conference in the country, we need to do things to improve our teams, and giving that extra day off will do that for us, or that extra day of preparation. So that's why it happened. I don't know how much the fans will like it, because you're used to Thursday, Saturday, and now it's going to go Wednesday, Saturday, or Thursday, Sunday. But with time, we'll figure it all out, and you'll get used to it. If we're good, you're going to come. So, we just got to be good.
Jimmy Kennedy, our producer for the radio broadcast, has an Ask Kampe question. It kind of piggybacks on that. What are your thoughts on starting conference play so early this season, especially with the game against that school down the road in Callahan Hall so early?
I didn't know he was allowed to ask questions.
He goes to the front of the line. Yeah, he's got sweat equity in there.
Okay. I guess he's pushing the button. So,
yeah.
If we're going to play a 20-game league schedule, we have to play a couple early. I'm against a 20-game schedule. But we have a scheduling philosophy that's different than most teams in our league for the non-league. If you're at Green Bay, it's hard to get games. And if you're at certain outpost type places, it's hard to get non-conference games. And so if you play more conference games, that's an extra home. If you play 20, that's 10 home games. If you only play 18, it's 9, obvious, right? So a lot of schools in the league want 20 games. It also gives you a fair regular season champion, because it's a round robin. It's like if you only played 18, and let's say Oakland's the worst team in the league, and a team didn't get to play us twice, they're going to be, it's not a fair championship. So playing 20 gives you that. But for me, it doesn't matter. The conference tournament is what matters. I would rather play more non-league games, a better chance to build your RPI, a better chance to build your seeding, a better chance to make more money, a better chance to solidify, if you do go to the NCAA tournament, a 13 or 12 seed instead of a 15 or 16 seed. All right, that's why I'm for an 18-game thing. I lost. The league believes in 20 games, so we got to play too early. Now, I think they just use a computer program or something like that, and they just flip it in there and out comes whatever, and that's not unfair. They work their tails off at it. They do the best they can. But for us to play Detroit on a Wednesday in November probably isn't what we would want.
I would say it's not the best use of that game.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm Detroit, I'm more mad than Oakland. Because if I'm Detroit, that's my biggest crowd of the year, and it's going to be a Wednesday night instead of a Saturday or Friday night. So for us, maybe our fans show up like we used to down there and put 3,000 Oakland fans in the place. We haven't lost there in 10 years. Yeah, I like that. So, I sure would like to make that 11 years in about 3 weeks. And it's a must-win for us. It's really an important game. Our stupid scheduler maker has got us playing Xavier on Monday night, though, which probably isn't real smart, but we'll be ready.
Pittsburgh Marty back at it. Good to hear from Pittsburgh Marty again. Says, I'm excited for the season. It's encouraging to see us so competitive early with 2 Big Ten teams. I did notice last week we signed 3 recruits for 24-25. Can you briefly tell us about some of their strengths?
Well, I think that, one of the things that's unique is that we signed a high school kid. But this young man came to me when he was a freshman. And he was with Brother Rice. He was in the team camp that we have, where we bring 70 teams in the summertime. And he came up to me as a freshman in high school and said, I'm going to play at Oakland. I looked at him and said, yeah, I hope you can play at Brother Rice first, But yeah, sure, okay. Well, then he got real good. And he obviously a really, really good player. And what I found out, and this is how the tentacles reach out so far. The reason that this young man wanted to go to Oakland is because he was at the Boys and Girls Club of Auburn Hills. And I came there and spoke, and our players would go there and we put a clinic on. And then Kendrick Nunn got in a little bit of trouble. Drove without a driver's license and got stopped. And sorry, Kendrick, but it's a good story now. And so the judge gave him like 50 hours of community service or something like that. So because of my relationship with the Boys and Girls Club, I went to them and said, here's Kendrick Nunn. You get 50 hours of him doing whatever you want him to do. And it ended up that Kendrick coached this kid in their open, his work there. He and the kid became very close. And that's why the kid wanted to come to Oakland. I always thought it was me. It wasn't. So here's that relationship. Now 4 years later, we're recruiting him. And I said to his dad and mom and everything, I said, well, he said he's coming, so I'm not going to recruit him. He's coming. Here's his scholarship. Well, it didn't work that way. But we did recruit him very hard, and we were very fortunate to get him. And Warren's got a really good chance, a really big upside. He's a 6'4", 6'5". He says he's 6'6", maybe, probably not, but maybe. Wing, and he, in our zone with his length, and the reason that he wasn't recruited to the Power Fives is because no different than Trey Townsend. Trey Townsend was 190 pounds when he came to Oakland. He's 235 now, right? And I told Warren he's about 125 right now. But if we can get you over, to 215, 220, he'll have an NBA level body because he's got the length and all that. And I think he's going to have a great career for us. Hopefully we can keep him. And, he can grow and get better, and we can keep him through his career. So we're really excited about Warren. And for us to take a high school kid, you know what that means. Then the 2 twins, they came back as the 2 leading scorers in junior college in the country. They're twins, and I mean identical twins. If they walked in right now, I couldn't tell you who was who. The last time I had that were the Champagne ones. And boy, what problems they were. But these 2 kids can absolutely shoot the basketball, and you know how much I value that. Smitty and I were at the junior college tournament last year recruiting a kid named Always Wright that we lost. He went to Rhode Island, and he's doing really well at Rhode Island. But we were watching that game, and then the game after it, here are these 2 twins, and we're just sitting there waiting for the game. And we're watching going, holy cow, look at these 2 guys. And then we looked into it and we started recruiting them, and I don't know how we got them because I didn't think there was any chance we could get them, but we did. They wanted to play together, and I think that's why we got them. I think that if they would have gone their own individual way, they both would have been recruited probably to the Atlantic 10, maybe even higher. But they wanted to play together, which is only going to be a problem for me because they play the same position. So we'll see how that works out. But they can really shoot the basket. Well, they're also kind of thin, but they're long and they're athletic, about 6'2", 6'3" guards that can really shoot.
Jeremy Schultz saying you could get involved. #AskCampe on Twitter. Jeremy Schultz says, what are the struggles with Rocket Watts production and how do you fix that?
Well, I can't fix it. I've tried. I can't fix it. It's going to all be on Rocket. He's been here 34, 35 games. He started every game. We need him to be productive. We need him to make some shots. We're trying to make him a point guard this year, and in many ways, he's answered the call to that. He's only turned it. He had a huge turnover in the game Friday night, but I can't name another one that he had. He's handled the ball well. He struggles with some points, part of being a point guard, but where he's struggling right now is putting the ball in the basket, and it's, in my opinion, it's all mental. The kid's been a scorer his whole life, and he's just really struggling. And at some point, he's going to have to do it, or somebody else is going to have to do it. So he and I have had that conversation. He's going to start tomorrow night. With Blake out, we need somebody else to step up and get us those 12 or 14 points. And hopefully Rocket will do that.
All right, Camp, let's do this. We'll take the break right now. When we come back, we'll wrap these up. We got about 5 or 6 more. We'll touch on what we agreed.
Do I need to give smaller answers?
Always.
Okay.
Always. All right. the Greg Kampe Show is brought to you by farmer-owned Prairie Farm, celebrating 85 years of feeding American families. We'll be back with more of the Greg Kampe Show. We're live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills. Welcome back. Final segment of the show here, the Greg Kampe Show. We're live at RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills. He's Coach Greg Kampe. My name is Neil Rule. Greg Hesson back in our 1270 AM The Bet Studios. Had to have you all with us as we are back in effect for another season of the Greg Kampe Show. Just cleaning up the Ask Kampe portion And remember, you can get your questions in on Twitter. Horizon Matt wants to know, says, it wouldn't be a coach's show without me asking an Ask Kampe about the rotation.
What? It wouldn't be a coach's show without him making what of himself?
Asking about the rotation. He says,
Sorry, I misunderstood you. Hey, before you ask a question, I just noticed something.
What's that?
Eric Pogue, stand up. Eric Pogue, our soccer coach, won the Horizon League championship this year, man. Coach of the year. Congratulations. Okay, what's his question?
All right, it's early, but you've shown depth that we haven't seen in a while. Osei hasn't seen the floor much, despite being in his third year and averaged 16 minutes a game last year. What are you seeing or not seeing from Osei Price?
Well, Osei is a very important piece to our puzzle. He has not gotten a real opportunity the first 2 games. And that's mostly because, I did not substitute as much as I'd like to at that position that he plays at with Goki and Lampman. Now with Blake being out, he's going to have to step up. And like I tell every kid on the team, in the 40 years I've done this, the 39 years before this, there's never been a season where a player didn't get an opportunity. It's going to happen. There's sicknesses, injuries, guys play poorly. I get mad at somebody. I yank them out of the game and I want to teach them a lesson. I'm going to sit them for a half. Someone, if you're on our roster, you're always going to get to go out there. It might be a small window. It might be a huge window. And you've got to be prepared for it. And when you get your chance, as in life, when you get your chance, you got to step forward and you got to be prepared for it. You got to come every day. Osei's going to get that opportunity now. He didn't get much in the first 2 games. Now he's going to get that opportunity because Blake's out. How's he going to play? Is he going to cement himself in there where I have to play him? Or is he just going to get through it and then the next guy, So that's all going to be on him. My goal is to play the best players and to win games. And he's got to play better.
Our guy Austin Davis here in the house tonight says, ask Kampe after a couple close games, get some fierce Big Ten opponents. What do you have to do to keep the guys motivated during the next slate of games?
Well, when you're 0-2, if you're not motivated, I think there's nothing I can do to do that. I mean, I got a really good group of kids. I got an old group of kids. And again, I told you last year we have to get old and stay old. That's what's winning mid-major basketball now, getting old and staying old. Until this COVID year thing's over, that's what we're going to have to do. We did it. Now let's see how we handle things. I'll tell you, if you were to come and watch practice, it's a lot different this year than it's been in the past. There's no young kids that we're trying to break down and teach and get better. There's older kids that understand what's going on, and the practices are a lot more calmer. They're a lot shorter, and they're, really, really fundamental-based practices. In other words, as Bobby was saying, they're detailed. You run this set play. How do you set this screen? How do you read? Who do you read? All the things, the little details of the game that because we're older, we can teach. And, we're not teaching how to get in a stance, how to guard a dribbler, how to check out, how to do those things. We're teaching the fundamental side of becoming great. And so being old, I sure as hell hope that we handle this. Now, are we going to have some nights that we're not, it looks like we're not motivated or it looks like we're going through the motions? Sure. Show me a team that doesn't, right? The difference is the great teams find a way to win on those nights. They get motivated, something happens, they get playing. Right now, I think we're showing that we can guard. So on nights we don't make shots, we're still going to be in games. We've showed that through 2 games. That's a very small sample size. Plus, we have to play our level. We're going to get a chance to do that tomorrow night. And then in that tournament down there, it's our level, but it's high our level. I mean, we're playing Drake, who's the number 1 ranked mid-major team in the country in some polls. Then we're going to play either Stephen F. Austin or Loyola Marymount. They're both really, really good. And I haven't even looked on the other side of the bracket because I'm scared of this side of the bracket. So all I know is we got one after another. And there's going to be some games in there that we don't have our A game. How do we play? This is all the learning experience. We have to be ready when we go to Detroit to get that game. We have to win that basketball game.
Jeremy Schultz doubled up, says, what are some points of pride that you reference when you're out recruiting about Oakland?
Well, I think it all depends, honestly, in recruiting on who the kid is and what do they want, and what's his background. Does he have parents? Does he not have parents? Does he have a mother? Is his grandmother? Is his mother? I tell you a story that will blow your mind. We had a player here, Martez Walker, all right? And we're getting ready to go to Spain. That was 10 years, 12 years ago. We went to Spain for the summer like we did this year. And my director of operations told Martez, you've got to, to get your passport, I need this, I need your mother's birth date, I need this, and I need your mother's this and everything. And she comes into my office and she says, Martez Walker's mother's 88 years old. And I go, no. Well, that's what he wrote down. And this is her birth date. And for him, his mother was his grandmother. That's who he grew up. That's where he lived. That's who he grew up with. Life is so different for so many of these young men that we recruit that you, as my staff or myself, we have to analyze that and how we're going to recruit that young man and what's important to that person. We're recruiting somebody from Byron Center right now. Mom and Dad were here in the summer and everything, and my number one speech to him was Oakland University's campus 3 years ago was rated the #1 safest campus in the United States. 2 years ago, it was rated the #2 safest campus in the United States. And last year, it was rated #3. Now, I don't know what we've done to go from 1 to 3, but even 3 is pretty damn good, right? So that resonated with them. So we have to just figure that out. Obviously, 5 pros. Unfortunately, in this day and age, so most kids want to know, can you make them a pro? If I came into your home and sat down with you and you had a son that was really good, or some of you a grandson, the first question that I used to be asked is, can you make me a pro? Well, we got 5 NBA players in the last 15 years, so that's an easy answer for me. The next question is, can we go to the NCAA tournament? Well, we've gone to the NCAA tournament 3 times. Now, we haven't been there in a little bit, but I'm not telling them that. 3 times, right? So, yeah, we go to the NCAA tournament. Can you win a national championship? Oh, sure.
With you we can.
Something like that, yeah. I mean, what I say is Butler was in the Horizon League, and they went to the national championship game back-to-back years. So, sure, we can win it from the Horizon. All right, then they ask us about the facilities, and I kind of changed the subject. Now, when I go in, they ask one question. Anybody guess what that is?
How much money?
How much money are you going to pay me? So it's just changed. So it is what it is. Right now, well, if you come to Oakland, we're going to make you so good that you're going to make a lot of money. So why do you want money now? You're not going to, all you're going to do is spend it anyways. Let's get it where you can make money for a living. And that's how we sell it. So again, we have a great campus. Our game day is out of this world. Giz and his people do such an unbelievable job. The arena looks so good on TV. Our student section's so good. Behind the scenes, a little shaky. But when you walk into that arena on game day, that's as good as mid-major college basketball as there is. So we try and get them to come to games. Like tomorrow night, we've got our top 2, our top 1 for sure. I'm not sure if the second one's coming, are going to be at the game tomorrow night. And they're not this year's recruits, but the 2 years out recruits are going to be at the game tomorrow night because we want to bring them in on game day. And I think if you talk to our other coaches of the other sports, one of the things that I think we do a good job of in the basketball program is we help them because, if Eric's going to bring a guy in, he's going to bring him to a game because you're going to see that student section and they're going to see the soccer team going crazy and the swimmers in their whatever they're wearing, and all that kind of stuff. So
Or not wearing.
Right? So that's what we sell.
All right, Cam, I need just 1 minute on each of these. We got 2 left. Gary Gilbert, so many new faces. I know there's 5 non-league games ahead on your schedule, but are you already explaining the importance of that November 29th game and that on the road in that musty old Callahan Hall? Those are Gary's words, not mine, not Coach Kampe. Those are Gary's words.
Well, if Gary were to ask our players that, they would be getting texts from me for 3 months now. We have 81 days before we go to Detroit. We have 65 days before we go to Detroit and practice. When practice ends, they hear that didn't go real well. We didn't do this, but we have to be really good on that day. So the answer is yes. In less than a minute, the answer is yes.
All right. Giovanni says, how much of last year's game versus Bowling Green can you take into this year's game? Both you and BG have so many new people. That stuff's kind of gone out the window now. As they got a new coach,
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to figure out what they're going to do against our zone. We're going back and looking at Southern Utah film and things like that. So we have no idea what they're going to do. But we got to take care of ourselves, We just go out there and play.
all right. Well, as we talked about Bowling Green tomorrow in the arena, if you haven't yet, go to goldengrizzlies.com, get your tickets. Love to see you out there for the home opener. But Camp Bowling Green, moving ahead to the weekend, the tournament in the Cayman Islands as well. No Greg Kampe show next Monday because obviously we'll be down in the Cayman Islands.
85-degree weather, 7 Mile Island.
Yeah, but the wind chill's like 84. So
Clearest water in the country or the world, maybe.
Yeah.
Damn. And I'll be in the film room.
Me too.
Yeah, I bet.
I won't.
I'm not even taking my clubs. Not even taking.
Oh, that's how it is.
Yeah, we're there to work. But people that are going with us are going to have a great time. We're going to play an unbelievable schedule. Getting a chance to play Drake right out of the gate is going to be awesome for us. We're going to find out a lot about our team, and then we come back and get ready for Detroit.
Tomorrow, Camp, another season opens up at the arena, Bowling Green. I know it's a pretty special day for you when you get a chance to coach against Bowling Green, I'm sure.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of over it. We've played them enough. I don't like the fact that they've won the last couple on last second shots. We missed a layup at their place 2 years ago, and then Rocket missed a 3 at the buzzer last year. It's been too tight. I don't like that no matter who it is, but it probably even means more because it's them. But, most of the people I played with, the people that watch me play probably aren't alive anymore. So I don't know if they even remember me down there. It's a long time ago.
No, absolutely. All right, Camp, got about 30 seconds left. Got anything else?
I just want to thank everybody for being here. I hope the season fries were as advertised if you've never had them before. This show.
Oh, yes. Lots of love for the season prize here at RJ's.
RJ's, him and his son are big supporters of Oakland, so support this place if you can. Monday nights like this are great. We want you coming every time. Feel free to ask any question you want. I'll never lie to you. I'll tell you what I think, even though sometimes it's not very smart on what I have to say. But it is what it is. Thank you so much.
Absolutely. Game tomorrow on ESPN Plus on the radio side, 1270 AM. The Bet also pregame show is on at 6:30. So that will do it for this episode of the Greg Kampe Show live from RJ's Pub in Rochester Hills. Thanks everybody for coming out. Well, see you later. Thanks, Greg. Appreciate it.